Good morning to everybody. We will have a panel on some of these trends. I'm very thrilled with the winners I have with me here on stage. But let's start with you, Immaculata. Discovery has always had the ambition to be a force for the social good. And as you can see from today's trends, this is really relevant at this point. And when we were preparing for this panel, I was quite amused by my being more enthusiastic about you so being spot on with this trend. And it made me think, and I actually said so to Immaculata and her team, that it's become part of their DNA. It's just nice when your DNA actually overlaps with what consumers need. So you've always had numerous innovative products and loyalty schemes attest to this vision of actually making us live longer. Can you give us some examples of how you give life to this vision of being there for the social good and actually making an experiential difference? I suppose the best experience is being alive, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thanks, Andrea. I think maybe to start off with, just to congratulate all the winners, because I think that one cannot undermine the role that marketers play in ensuring that brands actually make a fundamental difference in the lives of consumers. So congratulations. And I think just sitting in the midst of these brands is including two of our partners in BP and Clicks. So when I found that our category was not on the top charts, I was quite heartened to see that lifestyle, which is where some of the partners that we have play a role, we're top of the chart. I think for us at Discovery, everything that we do revolves around our core purpose, and I think that if you walk through our doors, every single person that is within our midst understands and embraces us quite well. And our core purpose is simply making people healthier, enhancing and protecting their lives. And 6 businesses later, everything that we do, we check against this core purpose. It has become a critical metric. It's become our moral compass, and I think that everything we do revolves around it. So quickly, just maybe to talk through 1 or 2 examples in this social, force for social good space. Everybody knows that we're in the healthcare space, and wellness has become a global agenda item where we are concerned about the state of health of the world. And Discovery plays a role in the following manner. Just some food for thought. So in the health space, and we have become an icon brand as a category in healthcare through our health business. For every 10,000 patients that we've got about 5.5 doctors per 10,000 patients. We compare that with one of our BRICS countries, which is Russia. They've got about 43 doctors to 10,000 patients, and I think this void and the shortage of doctors is a big concern for us. There's about 1,200 doctors that qualify from med schools around the country every year, and we actually need double of that amount. This big void, and out of obviously the 1,002, I think 75% of them end up in private practice. So you can imagine what type of limited resources we have in the public sector. So what we've done is we have launched the Discovery Foundation, and the premise behind it is to simply invest money in building capacity in the public healthcare space. So we initially started it in 2006 and invested 100 million rand to train specialists that are just coming out of med school, not going to go into private practice, but to go into the public healthcare space. 7 years down the line, we've actually re-injected a lot more capital into this, so we've invested 300 million rand to train 600 specialists. And this year, we've got about 169 alumni that are doctors that actually are going to be practicing and specializing in public healthcare. So that talks to one of the things that we do. And I think in every single business, one can talk to innovations that we take to market that kind of talk to being a force for social good. I mean, all of you, I'm sure, do your shopping at Pick n Pay at some point, at Woolies. And I think some of the innovations that we're taking and being a force for social good is about when you walk through the aisles at Woolworths, you know what is a healthy food item that is preferred based on its salt and sugar content. So not only do our members benefit from getting savings out of it, but the general public become now aware of healthy food choices within stores.
Does counting the aisles of supermarkets count as exercise?
Well, if you park a couple of blocks away from the main entrance of the shopping center, it may count.
Okay, thanks a lot. Nicola, MTN has always been associated, since the Yoba campaign particularly, making us sit up straight, be proud of your country, get engaged, stop being so depressed and skeptical about what we have. Tell us more about how you actually bridge the product features conversation into a conversation of experience. I know this particular issue I'm finding interesting in the larger space of the Apple and Samsung war zone, where there's so much criticism about moving away from product features, but it turns out to be a trend in South Africa that's very strong. We don't want to hear about product features anymore. And you've actually started that conversation quite a while ago.
Thank you, Andrea. I think I'd like to just thank my colleague on my right my colleague in marketing on my right for her comment right at the beginning to talk about the role of brands. And I think I'd like to approach it in that fashion in terms of how I answer you. Because, MTN was very much born in the era of democracy, born in 94. And MTN has always really embraced reflecting South Africa in an incredibly positive fashion. And not only South Africa, of course, but throughout Africa and then further on into the Middle East. And we've always been a brand that's really looked at celebrating the positive diversity and uniqueness of our nation. And I think that was beautifully articulated in the Yoba campaign. And then to your point about how that is then, we sort of really balance that between meeting consumer needs and through product innovation. And essentially it's such a symbiotic relationship, because you meet consumer needs by being a brand that consumers relate to. And that sense of relevance that you need to have as a brand to your consumers across such a wide range of geographies, of segments, of cuts of society, allows you really to then be the brand that they look for to meet those needs. That has allowed us as a brand, if you look at the mobile financial services sector, and really being a huge focus for MTN at the moment, the trust that we've managed to garner through being a brand that people relate to, through being a brand that celebrates the nations and the communities in which we operate, it lends us that trust, which is sort of the ultimate differentiator in today's landscape, to go into horizontal spheres of business. So I think it's such a symbiotic relationship, and a brand that reflects the society and the positives of society in which you operate is a brand that then consumers look to and easily associate with solving new problems and with meeting new consumer needs.
I find it interesting that you're saying that your marketing approach is actually related to a core value of MTN as such. It's a structural value. It's actually embedded in your foundation. So I never actually considered it, and I think that's very interesting. David, we're thrilled to have you here. I mean, how's this starting, or the first year you mentioned, and you're right in the top 10. It's actually mean, people work for this generally. And statistically, your brand was most closely associated with South Africanness. It was interesting, and you told me the story of how you started. Clicks is a very local brand. Very interesting. And on your loyalty cards, which is what you actually were very differentiated in your category, you're far ahead of the other loyalty. I don't want to say schemes, because then it makes me think of bread schemes, or what is our new mafia? It's bread or something. Anyway, so talk to us about how you've differentiated on loyalty and how you've actually managed creating an emotional attachment. So loyalty is not just about money, is it?
No, it's not. Andrea, thanks very much. And on behalf of the entire Clicks Executive Committee, we're obviously thrilled that we were up here. And sorry to whoever we kicked out of the top 10. But it is great for us to be able to accept this award. And I think that, fortunately for me, the Clicks Club card has been in many of our customers' wallets for over 16 years now. We started off in 1995 with a trial in the Western Cape, and then progressed to a national rollout in 1996. And this was roughly the same time that Tesco actually launched their club card in the United Kingdom. And we know what a success that's been. But I think one of the things that's really helped us is the fact that we've kept it simple. Over those 16 years, the core program mechanics haven't actually changed that much. We insist on providing value to our customers. It's a loyalty card that is free to join. You can get it in any one of our stores now. I'm sure there's not many people in this room who've been to a Clicks and haven't been asked, do you have a club card? And that's one of the things that's really helped us grow it. Over the period as well, we haven't just relied on the value that we give to our customers through cashback. We've looked at how we can partner with other brands that have a connection to Clicks. If we think of Discovery, if we think of Sorbet, and as well as Specsavers, so that health and beauty positioning that we hold. And I think that's what also helps us. Clicks is maybe not one of your more regular shops. It's a speciality shop, whether it be for toiletries or beauty. But there's a certain feel-good aspect that is accompanied with that, whether it's making yourself look good. We don't sell shoes, unfortunately, but but I think that there is that feel-good aspect that goes with that. And we're always looking at how we can give our customers more value out of the program, whether it's through the Club Card magazine or some of the initiatives that we've got through social media and that we're starting with now as well.
I was interested in the emotional attachment, and I'd like you to go there a bit. On Wednesday, Bruce Whitfield had a part of his show on loyalty cards and how, well, he doesn't believe in much, does he? He's not supposed to as a journalist. But he did say that loyalty cards in many ways are not a win-win. Or are they a win-win? What is it with loyalty cards? And loyalty is declining. I was tempted to tell him that this is actually one of his bugbears, supported by research, but I'll still get there. But what is it that makes you unique from a Clicks perspective? You did say you're free. It's a free card, and that is indeed unique. But what is it that creates an emotional trust? Is it the regular payments? What is it?
Absolutely, it's the fact that it's free, and there are many loyalty cards out there that are free. But I think the trust is something that is synonymous with Clicks. Being in the health industry, with our footprint that we've got in South Africa, our pharmacies as well, there is a certain amount of trust that goes with that. And like I say, we have expanded on our program as well. We've been able to offer free funeral cover to Club Card members just for shopping at Clicks. It's not something extra that they have to pay for, it's something that we give them. We've looked at other areas that we can try and provide extra value, and that's, I think, what really helps with that emotional attachment. Serena spoke about education being important. We're always looking at different ways that we can try and speak to our Club Card members. Our Helping Hands Trust as well, where we focus on giving free vaccinations to mums with babies that were born in state hospitals. All those sorts of things, I think, add up. We don't do a lot of conventional brand marketing in the true sense, like a lot of my counterparts here would do, but we do connect with our customers, and I think that's what makes us different.
Thank you very much. When I met Rennie about a week or two ago, I think we spoke, I was inspired by this unique story of, in two ways really, and you'll hear it from Rennie herself just now. But I was amazed to see that BP actually based their campaigns and some of their thinking on last year's Icon Brands results. It made you do different things to what you'd anticipated with a fantastic result. The key outcome, though, of what BP does is that there's been a decision to stand for hope. Tell us more about that, Rennie.
Thanks, Andrea. I think congratulations to my colleagues. I'm quite jealous, Clicks, that you made it to the top 10. I think to my team that is here, that's where we're heading next. We have to work with this. I think the challenge that BP has as a global brand, you know that you always have to make sure that you're relevant to the local market. And being relevant to the local market, it's about having really your hearing aid to the socio-economic environment of the country that you operate in. And we've heard from our colleagues here talk about the core of our business and what we stand for. From a BP side, we stand for caring for communities that we operate in. And when we do that, really we're guided by words or statement, brand statement that talks to progress collectively. So everything that we do is guided from that. And the core element of that is listening. So listening to our consumers is quite critical, and that's why to us, we looked at the survey last year and we said, what can we listen to this? What are the true messages that we can truly listen to what consumers are saying in all of these trends that we can tap to and communicate to? And two insights really came to the fore. One of them was around the unhappiness that South Africans are, and the fact that we really have hopelessness in us, and we've got a lot of messages that we're listening to. So those two indicators, or two insights for us, was what we worked on. The happiness one ensured that we had campaigns such as take a year off and just, go out in the market and do whatever you want to do, and don't work if you don't need to work. And those campaigns were led by that psyche of how can we actually make South Africans look at themselves in a different way. And in the giving hope space, we then developed the Ads to Bags campaign that we currently are running this year, where we said, well, we've got all these billboards. What is it that we can actually do to ensure that we give hope to education, focus with education, hope to kids, and giving them something that they can use to carry schools or books to schools. So we then focused on that campaign, but I think there's a whole lot of other things as a business that we focus on. Education is key to us, and being one of the socio-economic issues that we face, and we remember last year, there was a whole lot of around books not being delivered in Popo and how education is failing our kids. And for us, that was one of the ways of, if we're listening to those socio-economic conditions and we want to give hope, tap into that. We've got it as part of our CSI program, where we ensuring partnership with VEDS and doing target talenting program, where we ensuring that the matriculants, or actually the matric results that we will have in the next 3 years are of good quality. And already on that program, we've delivered the top matriculant last year, comes from that program. So it's one of the things that we really are doing and tapping into the society. And what is great about what we've done is that it's not only a marketing thing, it's actually the business looks at that and say, how can we progressively, or together actually, with whoever that we partner with, whether it's Discovery is one of our partners, and Pick and Pay, one of our partners as well, how can we better develop that progress for the country? And we are on that mission, and we will continue to give hope. And that's why in the midst of negativity around how businesses or economy in South Africa, it's not going well, and how companies are not going to invest in South Africa, we went out there as a business and say, we will invest, and we'll invest 5 billion in the next 5 years in South Africa. And to ensure that we give that hope, and to start showing South Africans that you can actually instill that hope and be happy people.
Thank you very much, Reni. Thank you. Try and catch Reni in the break, because the way she's planned hopeful conversations to happen between companies is a fantastic story. She's been shy and humble here next to me, but the way BP has made it a corporate practice to have hopeful discussions about investment and about moving forward and about not having a political agenda but having a social fabric agenda is a fantastic story. Thank you very much for that. I'm being flagged from the side already that we've nearly run out of time, but I've still got questions. So just move into 5th gear with your speed of voice, because you've got such great messages still, and I want them to get out there. David, big data. The big suspicion with loyalty cards and systems about where corporates, retailers, whatever they are, collect our information, is that we think, oh, you're just going to bombard me with all sorts of things. How do you make big data work for you and the customer?
I think the important thing with big data is firstly knowing what you want to do with it. We've obviously been collecting data on club card holders since the start of the program 16 years ago, and you know, one of the 3 things that we identified is A, you've got to have the right tools in place. We've had to relook the types of tools that we have internally so that we can mine that data effectively, not just so that we can target our customers with better offers, but so that we can actually understand our customer and understand what drives them into clicks, what is influencing the purchase decisions, and what are the things that we can try and connect with them on. The other thing is making sure that we've got the right people in the organisation to be able to ask those questions so that we can get the answers that influence our strategies and tactics. And then lastly, obviously structuring the organisation around the customer. It's very important to make sure that we're focusing on the right elements.
What I liked about David was that he said it doesn't matter actually about how big the data is, how much data you have. It's about the purpose. How are you going to use it? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to ask it? How are you going to ask a question and make sure it's aligned to your purpose? Thank you for that. Nicola, I'd like you to talk to me about customer intimacy, which is something which is behind one of these trends. And if we want to experience together, if we want to build together, we need to be close to each other. How do you do that with a high-tech environment? And we don't want to be close on Facebook or social media and those things. That we've now seen is a false closeness. How do you manage intimacy in a high-tech environment?
I think first and foremost, I don't necessarily want to discount the social media platforms. I think they have a very significant role, and I think it's often misunderstood. So I think I'd like to answer that in 2 different ways. I think first and foremost, often with my team and with the marketing teams across all of our operations, we talk about the necessity to demystify technology for the customer. But often we have to point the finger back at ourselves and demystify technology for ourselves as marketers and as brand owners. Because I think often there's a lack of understanding and appreciation for what platforms in the digital realms can do for you in terms of your ability to converse with your customer base, and certainly obviously in our case with your high-end customer base. So I think there's a necessity to demystify technology in the way that it's utilized by marketers and brand owners. And we often have a conversation about the necessity in our world to think about the digital world and the virtual world, which we deliver and which we have a purposeful presence in. But we talk about thinking about it in the same way that we've historically thought about the physical world. So in the same way that we would plan our touch points and engagements and experiences across touch points in the physical world, across the retail environment, across the street vendor environment, we have to think about the fact that we need to create those same positive experiences in a virtual world. So I think that the demystification of technology and the way that we use it as marketers is the first point. And I think there's absolutely an opportunity to create intimacy there. And often in the old days, we used to talk about opportunities to see.
She's too young to talk about the old days.
Thank you, I think. But, you know, sort of opportunities to see is such an ancient terminology and one that's no longer relevant to a large degree unless you're purely talking awareness. But we now start talking about, you know, opportunities to engage and opportunities for customers to experience. And the multimedia presence that you're now afforded as a brand allows those opportunities. And I think, but what is important, and to your point about the caveat of social media, it's absolutely, to the point made earlier, not about the number of likes you receive, and what does that mean? And has it got any significant meaning, and is it a measure we should be looking at all? As opposed to what is the dialogue that is happening between you and your customer base. And I think that is where the distinction becomes important. And intimacy is about the opportunity for you as a brand to start, receive, and react to conversations, as opposed to being a brand that has certain declarations. So it's no longer just about you sort of broadcasting about who you are and what you are as a brand, and hoping like hell you've met some point of relevance with a large enough percentage of your base. It's really about those conversations and being an active participant in them and seeing that as an opportunity as opposed to a very, very scary omnipresence that your customers have in terms of engaging with you. It's absolutely an opportunity.
I'm so excited about this, Nicola, because just similar to, well, we all know what technology can do to change society. We all know about the Gates Foundation investing massively in hardware in societies. And some of you might have seen that TED educational video where educationalists rolled out hardware in villages with not even schools, and were amazed at measuring how children who did not speak English would learn about complex systems in a collaborative way. But what they'd done was to combine those computers with a granny tutoring system. So they had hundreds of grannies tutoring. Now you might ask, what does a granny know about physics or biochemistry or any one of those topics? They didn't know, but they knew how to inspire. They knew how to motivate and how to keep those kids from continuing and keep trying. And that's what I hear end-to-end doing. Combining the granny with the technology, as odd as it sounds. And I really want to salute you for that.
Thank you. I think if I can coin something that we say internally, but it's teach Google to Google.
Yes.
And essentially it's really allowing for technology to be such a force for positive change absolutely across the age spectrum.
Yes, thank you. I'd like the technology team to just quickly put up Discovery's slide for me, because there's an amazing statement around that. And we're actually going to close with that slide. Immaculate, if you can quickly talk to what's behind that slide. I mean, Discovery is trying to tag us, and I mean, I'd be happily tagged in the retail environment. But they're trying to get us to change our behavior, which is the most difficult thing in the world to do. So please, I can see your slide. Is that talk to us about it?
Okay, so I think when we were busy preparing for today, we had numerous conversations, and one of them was around loyalty, and I saw it presented about the fact that loyalty programs are declining, etc. And I think in explaining what Vitality was about, I alluded to the fact that it has become the chassis on which all of our products rest, and truly for us it has changed behavior to the point where there's a direct correlation between healthy living and how members behave when they engage with our program. And the slide really, it can be a scary slide if you live in a hopeless kind of world, so hoping that we can borrow from Renee's principles of living in hope. But very quickly, I mean, in South Africa we have a life expectancy of 49. That is a moment of reflection right there. So what we've done is we've analyzed through our Vitality engagement how much more life our members give themselves additive to the 49 when they engage with our Vitality program. And as you go up the statuses, and I'm sure a whole lot of people in the room I'd like to believe are on Discovery and they're on Vitality. And I doubt very much if there's people in the room who go through a version active, swipe quickly and swipe back out, because that's not going to help you. But people that are engaged with our program to the point of diamond status increase their life expectancy up to the age of 88.
That is 40 more years of life.
So,
and butter.
So for us really it's all about Vitality changing lives. And in fact, I know that there's a long forgotten story of our lack of success in the US, etc. But since then, what we've done is we've started as a proudly South African phenomenon. We've taken Vitality to multiple geographies worldwide. And as of Wednesday, we launched in a partnership with ALA in Singapore, where we're selling Vitality exclusively. So we are operating in 4 continents worldwide, where Vitality is layered onto health and life products.
Thank you so much for this. I mean, that's every marketer's dream, getting changed behavior. It's absolutely fantastic. I will not tell my mother-in-law about it, but I'm certainly going to subscribe. So thank you very much. Thank you to my beautiful panel, and thank you to you.